I'm Melanie Johnson along with my co-host Jen Foster. We are both 13-time best-selling authors. We've published over 2,500 books and made all of our authors #1 bestsellers. We own Elite Online Publishing. If you want to become a best-selling author, look us up at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Now, welcome to the podcast that shares secrets from top industry experts that show you how to get lasting success and results. This is the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hi, everyone. It's Melanie Johnson back with another fabulous podcast for you. And I'm here with my business partner, Jen Foster. Hey, Jen.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? It's a wonderful day.
It sure is a wonderful day. It's a fantastic day. You know, the one thing, though, that everybody has been facing going through COVID and all of this time is, I want to call it burnout and trying to keep your resilience up. And how do you do that? So we have the author today, Eileen McDargh of Burnout to Break Through. And it's getting through to being resilient through all of this stuff. So I'm feeling kind of burnout myself with, between the COVID thing and business stuff, family stuff and the holidays. And so let's just walk through that. If you're interested in how to be resilient to get through this, and you're in the right place today. So first of all, I want to remind you to subscribe to our podcast. Right? Hit that button, subscribe, and then share it with friends. It's so timely right now. I think you're going to get so much out of this podcast today that it's going to help go after you listen to it. So if you're looking to go, then you're in the right place. So Eileen, thank you so much for coming today. We really appreciate your time.
You are welcome. I'm delighted. And you're right. We're in the right place at the right time with the right topic.
Yes, for sure. Well, tell us, Eileen, a little bit about yourself and how you got into writing. You have so many books you've written. So tell us a little bit how you got started into this, and then we can dive right into the burnout and breakthrough.
Sure. Well, this is my 8th book. And actually my first book was called Work for a Living and Still Be Free to Live, which at the time, as far as we can figure out, was the first book that ever looked at this notion of work-life, quote, balance, which we know is not real, and integration with authentic work. And that was like 1984. Now you fast forward and I've got Burnout to Breakthrough, building resilience to refuel, recharge, and reclaim what matters. And it's almost like I realized it's kind of like a bookend, that they picked up. But I've been fascinated with the topic of resilience for over a decade now. And I define resilience very differently than what the dictionary does. I say that resilience is energy management. Do you have the physical, mental, emotional, physical hardiness to keep on keeping on? So what's interesting is in the last 2 or 3 years, when organizations or associations would ask me to come in and keynote or to facilitate, they wanted to talk about resilience, but it was always in the context of burnout. And in May of last year, 2019, the World Health Organization declared burnout to be a global occupational hazard. And as soon as they did that, I thought, okay, this is it. I just need to write this book. So that was the impetus. And so Barrett Kohler, the publisher, is just great. The manuscript was delivered a year ago, December, this month. And 2 months after that, when we get into this year, we have COVID-19. So while I headed off in one direction, and that's where the book looks at now, we are realizing that people are working even harder. Burnout is more prevalent because the world has so dramatically changed around us. And the stats are really showing that when people are not in the office, but they're working remotely, they're actually putting in longer hours than they did when they were in an office setting.
One thing that I find about your work, the topic about how to control the uncontrollable. And so many times, it's always, well, control what you can control. And, don't worry about what you can't control. Just focus on what you can control. So I was really taken with how to control the uncontrollable. That sounds like a whole new skill. So walk us through that.
Okay. So first off, it's actually, you got to figure out, of what of this do I have some control over? So for example, over COVID-19, I have no control over COVID-19, except if I choose to wear a mask, to physically distance, to do all the things that the medical community recommends that we do. I can do that. So I can say, of this thing that appears so uncontrollable, where is my control point? And I believe, frankly, Jen and Melanie, that our first place of control is in our head. And it's in our head with what we say. So when I say, I have to do this, I just abandoned my control. I gave it to somebody else. I have to do this. Nobody's standing there and saying, I have to do this. I did not have to come on this podcast. This is my choice. You did not have to have me on as a guest. You chose this. So when you say, I choose, now you get to say, is this a good choice? Are there better choices? I hope you won't think there's a better choice after today. But that's really part of the thing, is what is it that I'm choosing to do? So in this world that looks so uncontrollable, where are my choice points? And because you are in publishing, you also know the value of words. And I believe that to say I choose over have to is one of the most powerful alterations in language.
Mhm.
It's just like when they keep saying we need social distancing. And since the get-go, I said, no, 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 that's the wrong word. It's not social distancing. It's physical distancing, social togetherness we yearn for. We want social connection. That's why the podcast is important, because people can hear us, even if they don't necessarily see us. I can see you, which is wonderful. We are connecting. So we want that. That's one of my choices. Does that make sense, Melody?
Yeah, that really does. That really does, because you're taking what you can do. It still is taking control of what you can control and being focused on that, not on the I can't control COVID, right? Or you can't control how many people get it or what's out there. So I really love that. And Jen and I were having conversations about family and raising kids, and it goes hand in hand with that too, right? You can only control a lot of times what you're doing, not necessarily what your kids are doing, especially as they get older.
Yeah. Well, isn't that the truth? That adorable little 3-year-old, when they become 12 and 13, suddenly a space alien has inhabited their body. You go, whoa, what happened to that kid? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Right, right. Well, you touched a little bit on the head. So in your book, you talk about the keys to master, which is of the 4 dimensions. So tell us a little bit about those 4 dimensions. I know you touched a little bit on the head, but tell us about those.
Okay, so I say that first off, that remember we're saying the resiliency is energy and it's connection. And burnout, the definition of burnout, which was given to us by Herbert Freudenberger, Dr. Freudenberger, back in the 70s, is to be exhausted, to exhaust mental, physical, emotional resources, trying to achieve some unrealistic expectation imposed upon by yourself or society. So if exhaustion and all of its different manifestations, which could be everything from depression to overeating, undereating, no longer connected with work, you've lost your sense of humor. There's a huge list of it. So if exhaustion is the base of it, then how do I get back that energy? Energy comes from connection. And if you think about it, if I have a power plant and I got wires and the electricity is going to go across the wire, if it's a good connection, it goes and the lights go on in your house. You turn on your car. If it's a good connection, battery sparks, car moves forward. Bad connection, batteries drained. So when I talk about those 4 pieces, it's how do I create a connection? And is it giving me energy or is it depleting my energy? And that's the choice point. So we talked just a little bit about connecting with your head. What is it that I'm saying to myself? When you connect with your heart, which by the way, is a powerful energy resource. We can track the energy of the heart at a greater distance, physically track it, than you can the energy of a brain. In fact, we now know that the heart is called the little brain, that the heart talks to the brain. And so how is it that I'm creating connections with my heart? First, connections with myself. And when I say that, but either of you, and I'm watching you now, I will tell our listeners what I see. How do either of you, have you made an error and you thought, I knew better, but I didn't pay attention to my intuition? Have you ever done that?
Definitely.
Okay, so for the listeners, I want you to know they're nodding their heads, yes, because we have all done that. So how well do you listen to your heart? Because your heart oftentimes gets overridden by your brain. And so how do you connect with the heart? And then how do you connect with people who give you energy or things? I mean, it could be your dog. It could be your grandkid. It could be, walking outside in the woods or through the snow. But that emotionally there is a connection that when I do this, I am connected with my heart. And also part of the heart connection is gratitude. What am I grateful for? And maybe I want to extend something to someone else and they don't even know what it is, but what do you know? Their paper appeared on the front door this morning because I chose to get up and put it there so they don't have to come out in the cold and get it. So connecting with your heart, connecting with your hands is really about action. It's one thing to think, it's one thing to feel, but it's another thing to do. So when I think about building resiliency, is what are the things that I will do? And Melanie, you asked that question about controlling the uncontrollable. What are the things that I can do, physically do, that will give me energy or at least stop the thing that's depleting my energy? So, in the book, I recommend some steps of how do you figure out, there's something you can do to figure out where your energy is going, because I guarantee you, many of us have no clue where that energy is going to. And they are tasks that we have taken on. We have been like that little bobblehead, that goes up and down like this and go, yep, 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 I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. And until we stop and look and take, why am I doing that? Who says that I'm the one that has to do all the wash? Wait a minute. Why don't I train that 16-year-old? I can hear it right now. No. By the time I tell them how to do it, I might as well have done it myself. Sure. There goes your energy drain. Hey, kid needs to learn how to use the wash. Go do that. Why is it that we say yes to answering all the emails? No, I'm not going to choose to do that. So it really is looking at action. And one of the best ways to begin to get control back is also with our physical bodies. What are the actions that we do with this? So that's everything from sleep, nutrition, exercise. So that's the hands. When I think about action, think about do. And then the other connection is with humor. And that's the ability, what recharges us often is laughter. Laughter. There's a wonderful book by Stuart Brown on play. And basically, his research looked at the fact that people who do not laugh, and play as an extension of laughter, that when they looked at people who were incarcerated in prison, most of them never played as children. Think about that. Epictetus said, play is the exaltation of the possible. And when we're in crazy worlds like this, don't we want to find what's possible? How do we become creative? So play and humor. Look at all the memes that we're seeing that come across, right? That you just stop and you just have to laugh. Someone sent me one the other day. It said, you told me that to go to the grocery store, all I needed was a mask and gloves. You lied. Everybody else was wearing clothes. So it's just so crazy. There's some just great ones. There's a wonderful it's on YouTube, and it's a parody that's from Beauty and the Beast. And it's the segment of wear your mask, and here are all the little characters dancing around. It's wonderful. You laugh, and it's a great way of delivering a serious message with fun. Because if I deliver a serious message with fun, chances are people will pay more attention to it. So those are the four connections. And there is one fifth one, which is the power of purpose. That Viktor Frankl, in the middle of the Holocaust, wrote that man or woman, I might add, can survive any what if you have a why. So I really believe that's powerful when we are connected with doing stuff, work, job, whatever you want to call it, that is meaningful in whatever fashion you take that about. And so I am part of the Why Institute, which is an organization that's created a way to help individuals and organizations figure out what's your big purpose, how does that show up, and OPS, what do you do? So finding that why is the last one, but it's an overarching one.
I love those. And I think when you talked about the energy, it's like, okay, I just put that on my to-do list. Make an energy inventory.
You got it. Perfect, Melanie. Seriously. So here's, okay, I'm going to tell you how to do it if you so choose. Notice I said choose, if you so choose. From the time, now today is Friday, so I don't know what's going to happen over the weekend, though, given COVID-19, weekends and weekdays don't always look very different. But from the time you get up until the time you go to bed, keep a time log. And I don't want this to be a monument in paper mache. Make it really, really simple. But grab a little notebook and make 3 columns. One says time, the other one says what, and the third column says who. So from the time you get up until the time you go to bed, just jot quickly. Okay, what it's, you got up at, okay, I got up at 4:30 this morning today, but that's just me. 4:30, get up. 10 minutes is, do all the get up out of it. And then I have 30 minutes actually between coffee and meditation. And then the next one is running. I exercise. If I get up early enough, I never see people. So I can go do a 5-mile run. And now I have my head, I have my body, and I have my spirit in one place so that I can begin the day. But as you begin to do this, watch how you'll start in one direction and then all of a sudden something pulls you away. And so where you thought you were writing this article, all of a sudden you answered an email. All of a sudden you took a telephone call. All of a sudden you went into a Zoom meeting. All of a sudden you said, yes, you would go buy groceries for so-and-so. Just watch it. And I will guarantee you at the end of 3 days, if you take those pieces of paper and you put them out on the dining room table, the kitchen counter, whatever, and you start looking at them, you're going to step back and say, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing it this way? If you just do this a couple times, the first time I came up with this idea, I discovered that I was spending an inordinate amount of time. I was on the national board of a national association. I was board of directors. I had no idea how much time that was taking. I didn't know until I looked at that and I said, given this phase of where I am in my life, that's the other part, where I am right now, is this of value? And do I choose to do this? And I resigned for where I am. So you look at it, where are you right now? Where is your choice points? And what's of value now? I had no idea how much time I was spending with one of our neighbors who became a widow. And she's just mean and nasty. And I felt sorry for, women, we do this. We feel sorry for people. And I feel guilty if I don't go and check in on her and do all this other stuff. I had no idea how much time I was taking. Now, did I abandon her? No. But did I alter the amount of time? Yes. Because what I was missing of value to me was my family. It's an interesting, simple way of saying, where is my energy going?
Yeah, because you can look at your time and you look at your energy and you look at who and what, like you said, you have everything all right there and you can really assess, oh, maybe I could put all these together and have less time instead of doing them all random, like you said, like things come at you. And
I discovered one of the times I did this because I was getting into overload and burnout, the amount of time I was spending looking for a document. I realized my office was not organized. I couldn't find. So I went out and got a professional organizer and said, okay, help me figure this out. To this day, I still use the methodology she gave to me for filing, which is instead of filing things by okay, what did I call it? This, everything is numerical. So you have, say, numbers 1 to 40. And on my computer, I have, let's say, if I type in, I don't know, disability insurance, it will show me what number that is under. So I just have to type in disability insurance. I don't have to remember, was it this or this? And so each one of those, and by the way, if I get rid of disability, I still have number 40. I can fill in. I'm going to fill that in with podcasts, with Elite Online Publishing. Stick it in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's, so there's, it's interesting what you'll find.
Well, but I want to get to, before we leave, of the 6 ways to remain resilient. Okay, you got us there. You've given us some tools. How do we stay there?
First off, and you said to remain resilient. I think resilient is a life skill, which means that we've never fully saying, aha, that's it. Because life isn't static. So stuff is going to happen. What I believe is that if we cultivate, and that's a really important word, cultivate, just like you cultivate a garden, you have to loosen the soil, you have to weed, you have to seed, you have to water. And oh my God, the season changes. We're in drought in California. What I planted isn't going to work. I have to try something else. Life is going to go like this. But each time something occurs, I learn. So it is in the practicing, in the cultivating of these skills, that when an event occurs, and by the way, it doesn't have to be something terrible. We think of resilience as when it's terrible. If you were offered a great opportunity, let's say perchance that suddenly some big movie star came to you and they wanted you to do their work, and go, oh my gosh, you're going to have to deal with all these publicists and you're going to have to deal with networks, and okay, you're going to expend a lot of energy. It's a challenge, and you're saying yes to it. So you're going to need resilience for that. So it's a continual process, but I think in the developing of the skills, you get better and better at the craft.
I love that. And it's really important for practice, like you said, so that you can become a master and have that be a life skill. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, tell us, Eileen, where people can go to find you and get more information about you and your books.
Thank you. Well, first off, if they can find my name, spell my name, which you will have there, they can find me. To my knowledge, I am the only Eileen McDargh in the universe. Once my grandmother died, we think that's it. So you can go to my website, www.eileenmcdargh.com. You can also find me on Amazon. I'm on Twitter. I'm McDarling. I'm on LinkedIn. So the book is available. It's also available through Barnes & Noble. So you can find books that way. And you can email me, Eileen@eileenmcdargh.com, and I answer emails.
That's great. That's great. Well, we'll put that email and the URL in the show notes. And for those of you listening, it's Eileen, EILEEN, McDargh, McDargh.com. So that's wonderful.
All right. We are so glad that you came today. I have a bunch of notes from our conversation, and I hope everybody else does as well. So thanks for coming today, Eileen. And we want to remind you to subscribe to our podcast and share it with other people that you think that they would enjoy it and get something out of it and improve their lives, inspire them, motivate them, and educate them as well. Remember, if you're looking to publish a book and become a #1 best-selling author, look us up at eliteonlinepublishing.com, and we'll see you next time.
Great. By the way, I subscribed.
Oh, great. Thank you. Make it a great day. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.